Okay, I think we shall make a start. This is Heaps speaking, and before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on land on which I am on, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, and I'd like to extend my respects and everybody's respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to extend our respects to the elders of the nations on which everybody is on as well, and everybody watching at home too. So hello and welcome to the closing ceremony of the 35th annual YMCA Victoria Youth Parliament. My name's Heap. I use he and him pronouns, and I am really excited to be your MC for today. I am the Parliamentary Training Director for the program this year, and I am absolutely astounded by the amount of work that the team have put in to make sure that this program goes ahead and goes online in the face of COVID-19 and other adversities as well. I'd like to also commend our youth parliamentarians on their strengths and coming to the floor and debating this week as well. I think I would like to first off introduce our speakers for today, and I'd like to call on the Honourable Ros Spence, MP, to address us. Remember.
Thanks, Heap. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the various lands, all of the lands that we're calling in from today, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, as well as any Aboriginal people that are here today. Well, hello everyone. My name is Ros Spence and I'm the Victorian Minister for Youth. And it's a great pleasure to join you in celebrating the closing of the 35th YMCA Victorian Youth Parliament. I understand it's been a long week of colourful debate and discussion about the types of reform that young people want to see in Victoria. Before I delve into reflecting on the bills that have been tabled at this year's Youth Parliament, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the YMCA for organising this really wonderful program. My congratulations and thanks to Georgia Mackenzie, Victoria's Youth Governor, for pulling this year's program together, along with Carolyn Morris and the rest of the team. And of course, to all of the youth parliamentarians, members of the Youth Press Gallery, volunteers and staff who have made this week possible. Just like last year, you've overcome massive challenges to put all of this on, and it's a shame that we couldn't join you at Parliament House to get the full parliamentary experience. I'd also like to give a shout out to my parliamentary colleague, the Shadow Minister for Youth, Matthew Bark, who I know has been watching this week with great interest also. Since the Youth Parliament program began in 1985, more than 20 bills written by young people have been turned into legislation. The most recent example being the Container Deposit Scheme, which was the brainchild of the 2019 Youth Parliament. And it's now being implemented to make recycling easier and more efficient. The bills that you've brought forward in 2021 strongly reflect the issues and public discourse of our time. And the insights and ideas that you as young people bring to these issues are really refreshing and innovative. I'd like to pick up on a couple of recurring themes throughout your contributions this week. One being that youth parliamentarians want to see improved access to services that meet the diverse needs of Victorians across the areas of mental health, transport, justice, aged care and homelessness. And the second thing that we need to break down systemic barriers that Victorians face participating equally and safely in all aspects of society, whether it's education and training, in the workplace, at home, or in our communities. These themes are extremely pertinent to me as the Minister for Youth. And they've been raised with me consistently as we've worked through the development of the new whole of government youth strategy for Victoria. And I know that my parliamentary secretary, Josh Bull, mentioned this policy piece in the opening ceremony. And it's underpinned by a vision for every young person to have access to opportunities to be their best as we recover from the pandemic and beyond. The youth strategy is being designed and led by young people. And as we work to finalise it, I'll be sure to refer back to the really extensive work that you've done in preparing your bills for Youth Parliament. I look forward to releasing the youth strategy in the months ahead, and I hope that you'll be pleased and proud to see many of the issues and ideas that you've raised this week reflected in it. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge this year's Youth Press Gallery. It's really great that aspiring young journalists like you have the chance to hone your skills in a real world environment. Political journalism is such a critical part of our democratic process, and your work to promote and share the voices of young change makers is really highly valued. I encourage you all to apply what you've learned through your time in Youth Parliament and continue to advocate for change. You're all leaders in your own right, and you're already leaders of today. And some of our youth parliamentarians may very well replace myself and Matthew in Parliament one day. But leadership and change making happens in all kinds of places and in all kinds of ways. So no matter where you are and no matter what you're doing, don't ever stop pursuing the issues that you're passionate about. Ever since I became a member of Parliament in 2014, I've looked forward to Youth Parliament every year, and I've participated in some way in every year's Youth Parliament. And I've always given the same message, and that is, be better than those who come before you. If you're interested in a career in politics and you watch Parliament proceedings, please don't model your aspirations on the behaviour that you may see in that 1 hour of question time. It is not the best of us, and it is certainly not the best of the work that we do. So when you look at MPs, be it state or federal, be it red or blue or green or pink or purple, and you think of your future careers, aim to be better than what you see. So once again, thank you all for inviting me to join you today. I hope that you've got as much out of Youth Parliament as I do every single year. You're now part of a long and proud democratic institution. Congratulations again to each of you for your contributions and your achievements, and I look forward to being part of the program again next year. Thanks, Heath.
Thank you, Roz, for your eloquent speech. I'd like to call upon the Shadow Minister for Youth Affairs, Dr. Matthew Buck, MP, to deliver your speech.
Many thanks, Heap, and it's lovely to follow you, Minister. It's great to be here with Her Excellency, Georgia Mackenzie, the new Governor. Great to see you again, Georgia, and also Caroline Morris. But perhaps most importantly, all of you. It's been fantastic to follow the events of the week, and wonderful to preside over one debate later this afternoon. I'd simply want to echo so many of the sentiments of Minister Spence just now. Before coming into Parliament, I was privileged to be a school teacher. In fact, directly before coming into Parliament, I was a school teacher at Ivanhoe Girls, and it was great to see a fantastic debate brought on by the Ivanhoe Girls team a little earlier on today. Before that, I also had the privilege to be an advisor to Victoria's Minister for Women's Affairs and for Community Services. Now, when I worked for her and whenever I wrote speeches for her, especially when she was speaking to groups of young people, she always had me include a quote from a Canadian ice hockey player. Before going into Parliament, she'd done some study at Harvard in the United States. And she always had me include a quote from an ice hockey player called Wayne Gretzky, who I hadn't come across before, but I think he's still the leading scorer in the North American Ice Hockey League. And apparently, Mary always told me, whenever Mr. Gretzky was asked how it was that he'd scored so many more goals than anybody else, he said, well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I confess, when I was working for Mary, I thought that quote was a bit twee. But the more I think about it, the more I think that it's actually really, really meaningful. And it links to a number of the things that the minister said just now. This has been such a difficult time for all Victorians. I'm mindful that my wife and I, my family and I, are in a really privileged position. We're all still in work. We're impacted by the restrictions, by the virus, to the least possible extent. But if I'm being honest with you, like I dare say so many of you, I've been up and down through this period. And yet what gives me a sense of real hope and real optimism, as it always did when I was a teacher and before that when I worked in the Victorian Government's Office for Youth, was engaging with young people and witnessing young leaders doing the sorts of things that you've done this week. I'm reminded also of a fantastic quote from one of my favourite politicians, a British politician called Benjamin Disraeli, who was the Prime Minister in Britain in the 19th century over a long period of time. Now, that was despite the fact that Benjamin Disraeli was Jewish. Now, I know many of you have a very good grasp of history. Well, anti-Semitism, very sadly, was rife in 19th century Europe, as it is, albeit to a lesser extent, still today. Benjamin Disraeli said, in not dissimilar words to words that the minister used just now, history is made by those who show up. So I agree with what Minister Spence said. It's fantastic to see you engaged. And if, as you move forward, you want to engage with not-for-profit organisations, you want to engage in other ways, make an impact in a whole series of different ways, that's fantastic. On a personal level, I'm thrilled that you're interested in the political process. And I agree also that so oftentimes when you snap on the news, if you look at what we do in question time in particular, well, you might be turned off. Earlier today, I presided over a debate on an excellent bill called the Proactive Measures to Prevent Sexual Harassment in the Workplace Bill. And again there, we've all been appalled by what we've seen, especially in our nation's capital recently. I'm hopeful as a new member of the Victorian Parliament that we don't have the same issues to the same extent here in the Victorian Parliament. Nonetheless, to see so many passionate young people really keen to make a difference, to engage in the political process, really gives me hope that despite the fact that, of course, we're all down right now and we can't wait to come out to the other side of the pandemic, at least through the great work of the YMCA and others, we've been able to move ahead with events like these, and you've still engaged. So thank you for what you've done this week. Like the minister, I've been so impressed by what I've seen. I would echo her sentiments. Whether you support the Greens, the Labor Party, the Liberal Party, which is the party that I represent, please continue to be involved. We'll only see better policy outcomes and positive change in Victoria if you continue to engage. So thank you for what you've done this week, and a huge thank you for this year's event, as for so many previous years' events, to the YMCA.
Thank you, Matthew, for your speech. And thank you to both Matthew and Roz for your speeches and your support of the program over the past few years as well. Our next speaker is no stranger to the Youth Parliament program, and I would love to introduce to our participants this year and to everybody watching home a former Program Director of the Youth Parliament Program and current board member on behalf of the Y, Oliver Tripodi.
Thank you, Heath. It's Ollie Tripodi here. And can I please begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet? For me, that's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And can I pay my respects to any elders past, present and emerging? At the YMCA, we believe that sovereignty was never ceded on this land, and we're extremely fortunate to be using it and remain mindful of that whenever at events like this. Can I please acknowledge Minister Ros Spence, the Minister for Youth, Dr. Bark, the Shadow Minister for Youth. Can I acknowledge Her Outgoing Excellency, Georgia Mackenzie, the Youth Governor of Victoria. Can I acknowledge members of the Victorian Youth Press Gallery and members of the Youth Parliament. G'day everyone, my name is Ollie Tripodi. I'm the Deputy Chair of YMCA Victoria, and I couldn't be more thrilled to speak to you very briefly at this closing ceremony. I've spoken at a few closing ceremonies, but none quite like this one. For instance, in previous closing ceremonies, I wasn't wearing sports shorts. Today I am. I'm not going to prove that to anyone, I think much to the appreciation of many people here. But can I just begin by congratulating everyone on just a tremendous week, to the task force for their remarkable volunteerism, to the youth parliamentarians for their tenacious and committed contribution to public debate, to the press gallery for their coverage of this event, and to the staff and team that work around those groups there to bring this week together. I know how special the Youth Parliament is because my journey actually started in this very room. I mean, this sort of cyber room, because I'm in my lounge room, but you know, in this space as a 16-year-old when I went off to Youth Parliament in 2009. And I think, like many people who are probably watching this in their homes at the moment, having participated in the Youth Parliament, you kind of have this remarkable appreciation for what you didn't know before the program commenced. You know, maybe your school or your community group or your council was like, hey, you should get involved with Youth Parliament. And you're like, well, what is this, you know? And then you get into it and you just find this like unbelievable collection of people and passion and ideas. And it's remarkable. There's nothing else quite like the Youth Parliament. The YMCA is committed to delivering the Youth Parliament because we know how important it is. At the YMCA, we believe in the power of inspired young people. And you look at a week of debates and coverage from the press gallery like this, and how could you not believe in the power of inspired young people? You know, as Dr. Bark said, like we live in a really unusual time at the moment. I mean, I need not remind everyone that as if, you know, what we needed yesterday was a small earthquake. You know, it's really unusual. There were protesters doing a sausage sizzle on the Westgate Bridge 3 days. Like, it's a weird time. And, you know, the Youth Parliament is an example of something that we can look to that is good, like is decent. Young people standing up for their communities, talking about and trying to persuade others of things that are important and listening. Like it's something that we can identify as a clarion goodness in a very mixed up world at the moment. To the youth parliamentarians for this week, the only advice I would give you at the end of it is there may have been something that touched you. Maybe it was an issue that you feel strongly about. Perhaps it's a new friendship or a cause that you hadn't heard of before, but you feel some passion for. In a time when it's kind of hard to plan holidays or a gap year or think about what year 12 might look like or what you're going to do at your second year of university, whatever it may be, take like a little seed from this week, something that meant a lot, and just run with it. It's a little bit philosophical, but it's a special week and embrace it is my advice. I better finish up, but can I thank Minister Spence for her and her government's just incredible commitment to this program. Minister Spence has been a tireless advocate for Youth Parliament for many years, and the YMCA deeply appreciates it. And of course, to the Shadow Minister for Youth, Dr. Bark, as well, thank you so much for your support and being here today and earlier in the week as well, and for presiding over a debate. Your background in these issues just makes us smile because we know that you recognise how important it is for young people to have a platform. Can I thank the Parliament of Victoria, the President, the Speaker, the staff? Can I thank the team, Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, for their tenacious work to bring this program together? Can I thank the generous staff at the Victorian Electoral Commission for their sponsorship? We absolutely couldn't do it without you. And just briefly, I have to commend the remarkable effort of this year's volunteer task force, who have delivered a fabulous program in the most trying of circumstances, frankly. This is a program that has typically flourished when everyone is in the one place, potentially at Parliament House, eating scones and chatting, and we haven't had that this year. But the program has been so spectacular because of this extraordinary group of volunteers called the Task Force, who are absolutely devoted to giving young people the experience they had when they were youth parliamentarians. Also, the efforts of the press gallery to cover this, just extraordinary stuff. It's already getting so much bite, and very, very ably led there by Kim. Finally, congratulations to the youth parliamentarians for an amazing week. On behalf of the YMCA, can I thank everyone who was involved? And can I just finally finish with a huge congratulations? You should be very proud. Back over to you, Heap.
Thank you, Ollie. It's always great to have you come back and speak and speak and inspire our young people as well. In essence I guess, thanking, this program would not be the way it is without the help of external stakeholders, and I would like to call upon the leaders of each chamber to thank these stakeholders on our behalf as well. So our youth premier, Shahila Usman, the leader of the opposition in the Assembly, Tutasia, the leader of the government in the Legislative Council, Elise Mitchell, and the leader of the opposition in the council, Chloe Shushinsky. I'd like to bring you all up.
Thank you, Heap. I guess I'll start off. Hi, everyone. My name is Shahila Usman, and I use she, they pronouns. I'd like to just quickly acknowledge that I am zooming in from the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. This year was actually my first year at Vic Youth Parliament, which is really funny because I have been gifted this incredible opportunity to represent such an incredibly diverse and opinionated and passionate group of young people who are incredibly invested in their communities and so show so much passion at such a young age about the issues in their communities. That's something that I don't get to see a lot in my day-to-day life, but I was honored to see concentrated in a beautiful week. I also just wanted to thank, on behalf of Youth Parliament, all of the ministers who chaired debates, engaged in meetings before and during this week, and allowed us to ask you questions about everything from how comfy are the seats in Parliament to what is it like to live as a parliamentarian in your day-to-day life. There were countless stakeholders who have conducted meetings and allowed us to navigate the work they engage in, and it's provided all of us with an insight and an opportunity for discussion, for deeper understanding, and development of what our own aspirations could look like. At a time during which young people are often discounted and discouraged in political arenas, I think I can say very strongly on behalf of the whole of Youth Parliament that we're so grateful for all of your interest and your investment and your affirmation in our aspirations for the present and our own futures. And I really cannot express enough gratitude on behalf of my chamber, but everyone else's as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Shahila, and thanks also Heap for getting my last name, pronouncing it correctly. That does not happen very often, so well done. I also want to express my gratitude for a very challenging and thought-provoking program such as this one, to get the opportunity to be surrounded by so many individuals as progressive as this group is, and to see people from all different walks of life and completely different from me as well in viewpoints has challenged my thought process and what I believe on certain issues as well, and I've really appreciated that in the Youth Parliament program. I'm very politically involved otherwise, so this was a cap in a feather in my cap as well to be a part of this program and to be elected a chamber leader, which is a great honor as well. I want to extend my gratitude to the parliamentary staff, particularly Sarah and Paul, and Hansard and the wider Victorian Parliament staff who came and assisted us in running this program. We really appreciate your time in this lockdown era, and yeah, once again, thank you very much to the whole entire task force and the wider youth parliamentary community. Thank you, everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Elise Mitchell. I use she, her pronouns. I'd like to acknowledge the original custodians of the land on which we meet upon today. For me, this is Wurundjeri country. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Auslan interpreters for helping to make the program accessible to all. We very much appreciate your service throughout the Youth Parliament program, particularly in my house, as we had participants who relied upon your aid throughout this time. Your services were indispensable both this week and during the training program. You played a vital role in ensuring this program ran smoothly, and we're all very grateful for your help. I'd also like to thank the Youth Press Gallery for sharing our stories so thoroughly in the media. I know personally, I have loved your advertising on Instagram, and I've loved adding your post to my own story, trying to show as many people as possible some of the amazing things our youth parliamentarians and press gallery have been up to. I can't imagine how many hours have gone into writing, contacting and publishing. So on behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank you all very much for your services.
Guess that leaves me. Hi, I'm Chloe. I use they, them pronouns. First, I'd like to acknowledge the Jarra people as the traditional owners of the land on which I'm calling in from. I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Sovereignty has never been ceded. This was and always will be Aboriginal land. First, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all of Task Force for making this camp possible. COVID-19 has seen so many things we've all been looking forward to and worked hard for cancelled, and to have an event like this still facilitated is incredible. It shows how much effort, foresight, and passion went into the planning of this program. As hard and tiring as it has been to sit at the computer and give it our all, it must have been 100 times so for the task force. Despite that, I can't be the only one who can admit that I have had an amazing time. I'd like to say how inclusive this program has been, especially in the little things that are the biggest for non-binary people like me. The ability to choose whatever pronouns we wished in the forms, the fact that no one got angry at me when I put the little shruggy emoji, when it asked for my gender, and how comfortable I felt putting my pronouns in my Zoom name. It's little, but it means so much to have a space I feel so open in. It is the result of compassion. Thank you. I'd also like to throw in a specific thank you to Shanti for helping my team put together our bill. You were so incredibly patient with us, and our bill would never have taken shape the way it has without you. As the comms liaison for my team, a big thank you to the comms team, who never missed any of my emails and answered even the dumbest of my questions. Task Force has been an amazing leading body, which promotes such kindness and empathy from every participant. Thank you so much. You are the sort of leaders I aspire to be.
How wonderful were each of these speeches, and I thank these, not leaders of the future, but the leaders of today. As you see them in front of your screen, I thank them all for their contributions this week and for leading their chambers. I now would like to call upon a couple of friends of mine, the leaders of the heads of house, for some awards. So I'd like to call on Ali and Hom from the Assembly and the Council, and they are going to give some awards out for the best speakers of the week.
Hello, my name's Hom. I use he, him pronouns. For a start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional land owners of the land over which I meet, which is the Wurundjeri people, the Kulin Nations, and extending my respects to the elders past, present, and excitingly emerging, as we saw in our chamber with the KGI team and in the assembly with the Yarra Rangers team. We had a really exciting lineup of debates in our chamber. And we had an excellent group of young people that delivered incredible speeches. We had over 30 individual votes for different speakers throughout the entire week of Youth Parliament, which is incredible. So many well put together speeches, really passionate, really thought provoking. I'd like to give a special shout out to Rachel Boyd and Anna Scott, as well as Annie Beard for your great work. But the winner of our chamber's best speaker goes to Ben Chesler. Well done. You did amazing.
Hello, everybody. This is Ali speaking. Before I start, I also want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land which I'm occupying at the moment, which is Boonwurrung land. So I want to pay my respects to Boonwurrung elders, past, present, and emerging. And I hope that you'll extend your own respects to the elders of the land that you might be occupying at the moment, wherever we are. I want to just quickly give a couple of thank yous, and I'm sure that Home would echo those thank yous that I'm about to give to Task Force in the Legislative Assembly for the Legislative Council too. I want to thank Miura and Kyra for your support of the parliamentarians in the Assembly. It's been immense, and I want to also thank the rest of the Task Force who have been working in the Assembly with me. I wouldn't have held it together throughout the week without your help, so I'm incredibly grateful. I want to say to our parliamentarians in the Legislative Assembly that the quality of our debates has been exceptionally high, and it has been a privilege and a joy to see it up close. Similarly to Home in the council, you know, it's really challenging to give out an award like this because at one point or another, everyone has delivered a speech that has been worthy of Best Speaker. Everyone has delivered a speech that has commanded the attention of the House, that has been impassioned, that has been sensitive, which is what we're looking for. So I want to congratulate everyone in the Assembly, and I want to thank you for opening that up for us to witness. We have a couple of honourable mentions, very deserving, who go to Kieran Noble and Sian Kavanagh. And the Best Speaker Award for the Legislative Assembly, also incredibly deserving, goes to Michelle Coe. So congratulations, you three, and thanks very much, Heap.
Thank you, Ali and Hom. Congratulations to Michelle and Ben for winning the Best Speakers in the Council and the Assembly, respectively. And congratulations to everybody who polled a vote. I know it was definitely hard for Task Force to vote on the best speakers of each debate, and at one point I think it was very, very close between each of the honourable mentions as well as the best speakers as well. Finally, I would like to bring up Her Outgoing Excellency, a close friend of mine and the Youth Governor for 2021, Her Excellency Georgia Mackenzie, to do her final address.
Thank you so much, Heath. I'm Georgia Mackenzie. I use she, her pronouns. And as Ollie and Heath have so kindly pointed out, I am the outgoing Youth Governor of Victoria for 2021. Before I begin, I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from which I'm zooming in on. For me, that's the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and of course recognise that sovereignty was never ceded. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd like to thank Minister Spence, Shadow Minister Buck, Olive Tripodi, and of course our youth parliamentarians, youth press gallery members, task force, and anyone watching online for being here today as we bring the 35th YMCA Victoria Youth Parliament to a close. This week, we've seen the power and passion of young people on full display. Our youth parliamentarians have stood up to be heard, spoken with conviction, and shown us just how powerful the voices of young people can be when they're given the opportunity. I want to congratulate all of our youth parliamentarians for what they've achieved this week. I must admit, I was nervous about how online debates would work and if we'd be able to capture the same experience as we get in Parliament House. But you adapted to and embraced the online space in such a way that created that very same feeling. I've been in awe of the way that you've conducted yourselves, creating a respectful and safe space for everyone to have their say. While the debates have been fiery and comprehensive, the sense of camaraderie and community has been palpable. This week, you've represented yourself, your communities, and all young people so incredibly well. You've shown us all exactly why young people should never be excluded from the conversation and the impact that empowered and passionate young people can have. I can't wait to see the changes and ideas that you've proposed this week become a reality. You should be so incredibly proud of yourselves and what you've achieved. I know I'm incredibly proud and inspired by all of you. It's been an absolute privilege to watch you all in action, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what you all do with the bright futures that are clearly in front of you. As Minister Spence said earlier, you are change makers, and this is just the beginning. To our Youth Press Gallery members, your coverage this week has been absolutely exceptional. You've shared the stories of our youth parliamentarians with care and expertise, ensuring that their voices have been heard far beyond the walls of our virtual parliament. As I said on Monday, the media play a key role in our democracy and holding our elected officials to account. And I'm sure that we can all agree that with you, the future of journalism is in very safe hands. I'd also like to take a moment to recognise the efforts of our volunteer task force. Our task force are a team of incredible young people who dedicate their time to empower other young people and give them the opportunity to have their voices heard. They've put in thousands of hours to make this program possible, and they've managed to completely innovate everything about it this year. They've facilitated and supported every part of this program, from tech support, bill development, stakeholder engagement, social media, and all the fun stuff, the recreational parts too. It is an incredibly special team to be a part of. And while everything has been different this year, if I do say so myself, I think it's the best program that I've been a part of yet. And of course, that's a testament to what young people can achieve when given the chance. Congratulations, team, we did it. We made it. Minister Spence, the bills put to the Youth Parliament this week represent the views and ideas of a diverse cohort of young Victorians. They relate to key issues and challenges faced by all parts of the Victorian community, and we encourage you and the government to take them under consideration. I am now so honoured to be able to present Minister Spence with the bills of the 35th YMCA Victoria Youth Parliament. If you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I'm really excited to receive the bills presented during the week on behalf of the Youth Parliament. I look forward to reading them, and I also look forward to passing them on to my ministerial colleagues, who I know will be equally excited to receive the bills.
Thank you, Minister Spence. Now, to serve as the Youth Governor of Victoria has been an incredible honour and a privilege. I've been incredibly inspired throughout the year, and especially this week, by the incredible young people I've had the opportunity to meet and learn from, to hear the ideas and perspectives and the issues that they're passionate about has been exceptional. But my term comes to an end today, and I am incredibly excited to be the person that gets to announce the 2021 Youth Governor of Victoria. So without further ado, I am incredibly excited to announce that the Youth Governor for 2022 is, drumroll, Kurjan Angel. Congratulations, Kurjan. This is so exciting. If you'd like to come on, pop your camera on and say a few words, you are more than welcome.
Hello, everyone. What a moment. Thank you so much, Georgia. Hello out there. My name is Kurj and I use he, him pronouns. I've had the absolute privilege of being the program director for this year, supporting the wonderful task force and recruiting our teams for Youth Parliament and also Youth Press Gallery. It's been my absolute honor and my absolute privilege to be program director for the past 2 years. As hard as it has been, I think I've got to see leadership at its absolute core, both in the challenges that I've been faced myself and I've seen the team not only be faced with, but absolutely overcome and absolutely shatter as well as they slam out this year. So congratulations, team. This has been an absolutely beautiful week. I'm really excited to be Youth Governor for the 2022 program. I'm really excited to take the step towards taking young people into the room where it happens and giving them a little bit more access to the decision making, particularly in our representative democracy, and making sure that young people always have a seat at the table. I'm really excited to celebrate global citizenship, taking young people and really recognizing that it is not, to quote Tilda Swinton in the wonderful Dr. Strange, it's not about you. And that to be a global citizen is to care deeply for those around the nation and around the world as well. And it also comes with responsibility too, to really recognize and listen deeply. And I'm really excited to champion those sentiments in my youth governorship. And I'm very excited to carry on the baton from George's work this year too. I'm really excited as well to not only see the change makers in our youth parliamentarians and our youth press journos, but to see the trailblazers in our task force. And I'm excited to take it to the next level and start breaking ground as well next year. Thank you, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure. And what a way to end 2021's program. Thank you. Back to you, Georgia.
Thank you so much, Kurj, and congratulations. I cannot wait to see what you do in this role next year. I am sure that it is in very, very safe hands with you. And with that exciting announcement, I would like to officially close the 35th YMCA Victoria Youth Parliament. Thank you all so much for being here today, for watching all week. Again, congratulations to all of our youth parliamentarians, Youth Press Gallery, task force, everyone involved. If you missed anything during the week, the debates will be online on the YMCA Victoria Youth Parliament YouTube channel in the next few days. The bills will also be uploaded and be publicly available on the Virtual Y website in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out on our social media. We'll be sharing that once they're available. And of course, please have a look at the wonderful work of our Youth Press Gallery on social media. Keep an eye out in all of your newspapers and also on our Youth Press Gallery website. There's some really great wrap-ups of what went on this week, so make sure you check it out. And with that, I am so excited to bring the closing ceremony to a close. I will ask that all of the youth parliamentarians stay online, but if you're watching from home, you're free to go. Thank you.